G'day, I'm Daniel Goldsmith and welcome to my farm. I've been lucky enough to live a very fortunate life. I've spent the majority of the last decade living and travelling overseas. When I finished high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Since then, I have built up life experience that led me to my decision to become a teacher. I believe the travel I have done has allowed me to see and experience how different one culture is to the next. Ultimately, this will help me understand the heterogeneity of my students. It will help shape my pedagogy. I'm going to tell you about my personal education philosophy, but I'll be the first to admit there is still so much for me to learn about and I'll never know everything. What I do know is that I have a passion for helping people, and I believe as long as I have this passion, I am going to give my students a great education. Nell Noddings is a philosopher who I admire. Her philosophy is based on building relationships and the significance of caring in education. She states, "The student is infinitely more important than the subject matter." Caring for my students is a foundational belief of mine, as I believe there are many factors that affect a student's ability to absorb information from the curriculum. Nell Noddings also says, "We do not merely tell them to care and give them texts to read on the subject. We demonstrate our caring in our relations with them." Many of my students won't be part of a traditional nuclear family. This means I'll be an important male role model in their lives, and my pedagogy will reflect this. If I don't demonstrate to my students that I care for them, how can I possibly expect them to develop this important value themselves? The Alice Springs Declaration says highly skilled teachers and educators have the ability to transform the lives of young people and inspire and nurture their personal and academic development. I'm training to become a mathematics teacher. However, I'm responsible for more than teaching the students how to solve an equation. They can learn that out of a textbook. When I walk through the gates of a school, I walk in knowing that I have a superpower. It is more than teaching to the curriculum, as I believe the aim of education is for all students to become confident, lifelong learners and people with good, kind heart. I have the power to educate and change lives, to help students become the best versions of themselves. Through the hidden curriculum, I actually have the power to help make the world a better place. I believe the purpose of education is to transform society. As a teacher, I will be a key agent of socialisation, and I can avoid social reproduction by celebrating diversity and utilising transformative text that challenges mythical norms and stereotypes in my classroom. I realise that my actions, words and body language have a major impact on whether my students feel valued or devalued, included or excluded, and I have a moral responsibility to create a classroom that is an environment where students feel safe, supported and is inclusive of all students. As Spider-Man tells us, with great power comes great responsibility. The National Professional Teaching Standard states that teachers need to know students and how they learn. Australia is an incredibly diverse country, and this diversity should be recognised and celebrated. When I picture my future classrooms, I can see that they consist of students with diverse linguistic, cultural, religious and socio-economic backgrounds. And I must understand that within my classroom, no two students will be homogenous. They are unique individuals. Looking at these heterogeneous factors, I will endeavour to treat all of my students with equity and respect. As Leonie Rowan explains, teaching to diversity means being sure that you meet the needs of all your students, no matter how similar or different they are to you, or to each other.
And that's no bull. No, seriously, that's a cow.
I draw inspiration from Bell Hooks, another philosopher that I have great admiration for. She too has helped me shape my philosophy. A quote of hers that resonated with me is, "To teach in a manner that respects and cares for the souls of our students is essential if we are to provide the necessary conditions where learning can most deeply and intimately begin." I believe Bell Hooks would be heartened by my pedagogical beliefs, as I too believe that a student-centred approach must be taken into the classroom. To do this, I must engage with all of my students regularly, remain attentive and listen to them, not just verbally. I must try to understand their body language and remember that every student is carrying an invisible backpack. Within that backpack is the student's emotional baggage and life experiences. This backpack may be getting heavier every day due to overt or covert discrimination. Because of this, I need to be able to stand up for my students and take a zero tolerance to bullying of any kind. If I think that people are being derogatory towards our students in class, I can't be a chicken. I need to call them out. Whilst interaction with my students is limited to within school hours, I recognise that their families are the key agents of socialisation. The Family Schools Partnership Framework recognises the role of the family As primary educators of their children, parents and families have a lasting influence on their children's attitudes and achievements at school. Building relationships with parents and carers through regular communication will allow me to gain a more in-depth understanding of my students and will give me an insight into factors that may be having an impact on their lives. I'm looking forward to continuing on this educational journey that I'm on, but I believe I'm headed in the right direction. Thanks. Thanks.